For Thursday, March 23rd, it is 7 p.m. Citizens communication. The commission welcomes comment on parks and recreation items. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the commission. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Do we have anybody here who wants to speak?
And no one ahead of time.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump over to 5A. Discuss and consider Fairfield Planned Unit Development Multifamily Parkland Dedication. Shane.
I don't know how to work. Maybe it's.
Oh, there it goes.
There we go. We're getting there.
All right. So tonight we do have Fairfield Plan Unit Development developer and owner here. They did come before you last summer, for those of you that were on the commission at that time, and you all did approve their fee in lieu for their parkland. Next slide, Shane. They came in June 2022. The commission did approve for fee in lieu for their development. They did receive a denial from planning and zoning and did go on to city council, but because they did not have a majority of vote, it was considered denied. They did take that feedback that they got from council and reworked it into their plan, and so tonight we have for you an updated plan.
They had a majority of their supermajority.
Supermajority,
Yeah.
my apologies.
Because it denied it, planning and zoning had to have a supermajority.
And it did not have a supermajority. It is 11.85 acre development, is located off of the toll, 130 Toll Road. The property is there in green, and you can see right behind it, there's close proximity to Geneva's Park. The density is a maximum allowed density of 474 dwelling units. It'll be a mix of townhomes, multifamily, and retail along 130. And if they were to be required to give us land, it would calculate out to 6.26 acres. And then you can see the fee in lieu there as it is calculated. With both the fee in lieu and the development fee, it would be a total of $507,000. Here is an updated version of their plan. The items in red are amenities that they're going to be adding to the development, but for private use of the residents within the development. They will not be getting any park development credit for those amenities, but they will be adding them. And here is a mood board of the items that they will, or conceptual items that they will be adding to the property, to include a pool, gathering spaces, game areas, and community gardens. And also dog park amenities with benches and lighting and trails throughout. And they are here if you do have any questions for them in regards to the property.
So you approved them last time. As Kelsey was saying, they were denied at planning and zoning and council. They've come back and added some of the things, or potentially all the things that they were required to add. I think y'all discussed a pedestrian access point from the backside of the property to Geneva at one time, so people could potentially take the drainage to the park.
Where is that exactly? I'm having trouble conceptualizing.
It is along 130 frontage north. It's going to be, Geneva is our farthest part to the north.
Where?
It's, okay, so if you took this exit and you went to the light and you went left, you would be at that, HEB that's in Hutto.
Right.
So this is just catty corner across behind and south a little bit of that Gold's Gym property.
Okay, thank you, that's
Yeah.
right, okay, got it, okay. Okay, so to the top there is the Gold's Gym property.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
North of that would be the Gold's Gym property.
So that's, not Steed's Crossing, but is that? what's the
Steed's
name?
Crossing is south.
South,
It's the-
I don't know the name of that subdivision.
It's 713 or,
Okay, got it, thanks.
Yeah, that was gonna be my questions. We talked about it last time, contiguous trail connectivity.
I think that you can also say they put some, I don't think they had, and you can't really see the mouse, but you can kind of see, I believe there, right here, I believe there's some access points to when future development comes in. I don't think that's something they had previously, so they've added that as well. So people can go from one development or retail spot through to potentially another without getting on 130, and then there's still, I think, the pedestrian access on the backside as well.
So just as a refresher, is this the right side, the
Yeah, this would back up to
residential,
the drainage.
and the left side is the retail along 130?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So what would the pedestrian access be to? It doesn't look like there's anything there.
Well, part of the money that we're receiving in parkland development, parkland dedication, we could potentially build up the, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. We could build up, there's a drainage portion that we could potentially use to connect us to either a sidewalk or to future development where it allows us to connect to Geneva. So right here is a drainage. So Geneva's Park, if you look on the map, actually includes this drainage corridor as well. So, you know, there could be potentially some sort of trailer access given here, or just trailer access given to the sidewalk where then people could walk by road to get to.
Is there a way to get from that street across that row of houses to the back of that?
On this street?
Yeah.
I think if they provide a pedestrian access point, I believe it's up here,
So there's a strip
They
of
can have-
property.
they have-
It's not privately owned.
we would have to work with someone to build up this connection
Okay.
point, yeah.
All right, so it's the potential's there, okay.
It
great,
is.
okay. Just look like,
And was
it just looked
requested-
like a row of houses. from
Sure,
where I get
and was
it.
requested by this group last time.
Okay.
And this, you know, development could happen down here at some point, and there could be opportunities for connection off this road through the development as well, potentially, as things continue to develop up and down that frontage.
So since I wasn't on the commission when this came last time, I think you mentioned, I just want to double check that the comments that caused the Planning and Zoning Commission to say no and the city council have all been,
Yeah, they
Incorporated
weren't
into
Parks
this
and
design.
Rec related, and if y'all wanna speak to what y'all received feedback wise and what y'all did changes, just someone can come up here and let us know.
Hi, good evening. Kate Kaniski with Drenner Group. I'm representing the applicant, Zach Johnston over there with Fairfield. He'll be the developer. So I would say we received a lot of feedback from planning and zoning commissioners, from the neighbors to the east and from city council. And there were a lot of issues, and I'm gonna highlight sort of the big ones that we addressed. What we heard a lot from the neighbors and from really across the board was the amount of impervious cover we were initially requesting. Our previous proposal came in at, what we were asking for was a maximum of 85% impervious cover. Largely in this area are commercial uses. And when you develop with a fully commercial straight zoning type project, you're allowed 80%. So we were requesting a little bit more than that. We were kind of like, it's not that much more, but we heard all the concerns. So with our new proposal, we've actually reduced the amount of impervious cover down to 80% to sort of align with everything you see in this area. And with that, of course, comes increased open space, which I think everyone would be pleased about. Another big issue that we heard, especially from council members, was the amount of commercial that we were proposing. So we do have a mix of uses on that front building there that is on the left side of your screen, sort of the upper left
This one here?
Yes, along 130. Initially, that building was gonna have commercial uses on the ground floor. We were proposing a minimum of 10,000 square feet. With this new proposal, we've almost doubled it. We're at 17,000 minimum square feet of retail uses. That was something we heard over and over, especially from the city council.
To add retail?
Yes,
To add the amount of size that a retail would be,
yeah,
from 10,000 minimum to
Right, okay.
17,000.
So they wanted more retail. space.
they wanted more retail. Yeah, so we heard them loud and clear. There was a little bit of reconfiguring that had to happen with our plan. We have a structured parking garage now, so that was another concern, was all the surface parking that was included with our previous plan. So we now have a structured parking garage that's almost fully wrapped on all sides. As you can see, it's that rectangle kind of in the middle there. Yes. The only opening is on the left there, and it's really just for the drive so that people can have access. What we're really pleased about is that even though we made all of these changes to accommodate the feedback we heard, is we are maintaining our 65-foot buffer along the east side of the property. That's that big green rectangle there. That was included on our previous proposal. It still exists now. We were really cognizant at the very beginning of respecting the neighbors to the east. We didn't want a big hulking multifamily structure right up against their fence. They were really displeased with the Gold's Gym to the north. They didn't like it, so we pushed back. We doubled our rear setback, in fact, from the minimum requirements for the CL4 zoning, which is our base zoning district. And then those structures just west of that green strip there are townhomes. So it's also stair-stepping in density from the single family. So I thought we had a great project before, but it's really great now, in my opinion, so.
And the, just to clarify a point that I think Shane said, the open space that is currently in this design is for private use, so that's the reason why it does not count.
That's correct.
Okay. And those are the two, I'm guessing, the two larger rectangles that
All-
are within the development?
All the red rectangles
Oh,
are gonna
okay.
be open space of some sort. The two larger areas are the main, like your resort style pool, your picnic areas, but there's gonna be community gardens, lawns, dog parks, really throughout.
Kate, the area to the left though, in front of the commercial, that's identified to be patio space as well, for commercial tenants and things, so, well,
Right here?
that's, yeah, that's, I'm sorry.
North of that.
Yeah, the idea is that that's
Yes.
gonna be interactive space for the commercial tenants as well, so there is some public benefit potentially with integrating that space out there, even though that's not necessarily private.
So is that gonna be like,
Okay.
there could be a restaurant with an outdoor patio
It
there?
could be, yeah.
Okay, that seems.
That would be our hope.
I was gonna say, I think
Market
that, yeah,
directed.
outdoor restaurant space seems really desirable after the pandemic,
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the.
until August.
We'll have Mr. Yeah.
And because there's not existing sidewalks, because it's off of the toll, the idea is that there could maybe be some public access from the east, correct, going into this? Is that?
Would it be okay if I can?
Yeah, absolutely, both of us.
I can speak to some of this stuff, but so, one thing in terms of connectivity, if you look to the far left, along the highway frontage there, we have enhanced that streetscape over there to make sure that we have sort of wider sidewalks that connect up to the parcel and to the north there. So everything that we're doing is trying to provide
It's tough to see here. but
that
it's right
connectivity. But it does mimic, actually, it mimics and then embellishes what's been done to the north there. And so conceptually, you'll be able to have sidewalk connectivity to come in and enter into the property. Kate mentioned before, one of the big points that we added to this was a future connection stub road out to the south, so there can be vehicular connection and line that up. So you'll have some trafficability there. And we have sidewalks, alongside all of our buildings and connection pathways to where when the parcel to the north of us was developed, there was the concept of pedestrian connectivity. So we've put sidewalks on our side, future redevelopment of that or development to the south, as Shane mentioned. I think conceptually staff is looking to bring those connections into future deals down to the south as well.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't have any other questions,
Okay. All right, thank you. Do we have a motion? Any other discussion from anybody? All right, do we have a motion? Anyone?
What's the motion?
Motion
What are we supposed to do?
approve the plan.
yeah,
Motion
as
to approve
as
the plan.
presented.
Okay, motion by Michael, second by Chelsea. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, we're going to go to 5B, discuss and consider action to approve the fabrication of an art bench.
Oh, we should make sure what.
Yeah.
All the way over here?
You don't really want to sit by Shane, do you? Some of us have to, but
Oh, wow. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, likewise. Where do I go? Oh, here we go. So, this year, we are excited about starting our new public art program. So from time to time, we will continue to bring proposals forward for your consideration. These proposals will be for any art that is installed within public parks, along trails,
or at parks and recreation facilities. So with this first one, it is proposed to be located within the plaza, generally where that display board is currently. And we are proposing an art bench that is custom made in Austin. We have been working with Iron Art to develop this concept. Essentially, it is a lit bench, including that of neon lights as well as LED lights. The LED lights are actually the concentric sort of lines radiating out from the heart design. And those LED lights would be encased in some sort of acrylic tube of sorts. It is primarily it's aluminum construction. It would be painted black with a very similar automotive sort of paint. So it's acrylic polyurethane paint. So yeah, this is a proposal we are excited about, and we would like your consideration on this particular
Why in
item.
Texas would you make metal benches and paint them black?
We could change the color.
Oh,
It's just the heat.
Metal wrong, and black
Metal
makes
wrong?
it worse. Yeah.
Okay.
It could get very hot. I
Yeah.
100% see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's shade over it.
Yeah, if there's shade over it, that would help.
Not really. There are times
Yeah,
that
I-
area
Yeah, it
shade.
depends
Yeah.
on time of day, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just like,
Man, the
during,
shade, like 9 o'clock at night. Really shady.
Which is great because it's a
lit.
lit
yeah,
bench.
yeah,
Right?
so it's an evening
That's
bench.
Yeah, it's not a daytime
Right.
bench, it's an after hours.
Yeah,
There are some
regardless.
playgrounds that parents can't take their kids to during the day because it's metal and it gets so hot
Yeah.
that they can't let their kids play on it. So I'd hate to just be able to look at a bench, especially if I was winded and tired.
Just shows how
I
tired-
love the idea, I just,
I love the design, but
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think looking into the materials, to make sure it can handle, it won't get too hot to touch.
I have a question that's gonna not reveal my age, you know my age, but it's gonna show how old I am. Is making things like Instagrammable really a desirable feature where people can take selfies?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't do that.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, yeah, that seems to be what I
You
see.
even knew the word though too. Instagram. You're not that old.
Yeah, maybe you don't do it yet.
I think
You're
Snapchat's
still-
becoming the newest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so how about an all acrylic bench?
All acrylic?
Well, I'm thinking they were gonna use acrylic to encase things, so they might as well just keep pouring.
Is there a 3D or
There's another slide.
Oh.
rendering you have?
Yeah.
I'd show what she took away
Okay,
from
so
me.
maybe just the seat could be, wood inlay. I mean, the simplest thing would be to maybe just make the parts you'd sit on something else.
Yeah.
Well, but whatever, but I think the feedback on.
We could put cushions on our benches in Pflugerville.
So yeah, good requirement that it should stand up to the heat so it doesn't get too hot to sit on.
Right.
I'm curious on, it says electronics cabinet, how is it powered?
Basic outlet.
It can't be solar powered? I
It
would
cannot,
ask for
or-
that.
So
Yeah,
on this particular unit, it would need to have access to power. And at this location, we do have access. Another location would be that it's right next to it, but it's kind of like at City Hall, and it would be underneath the canopy. There's other locations too, but I haven't really talked about it with Shane. But we can kind of take a look at it.
See some tacos.
Huh?
Huh?
So, just as a summary, look at the materials, identify how we can mitigate for heat, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, and then and just making sure that it's durable, and that like you're gonna have kids and stuff,
Right.
like
Oh, yeah.
being
is
ridiculous.
there anything that projects the longevity of,
Yeah, so we asked this question to the designer, the design team, and it's really more about the fading of the paint. So they estimate that it would probably last about 5 to 10 years, and it's the fading of the paint that would probably be something that isn't apparent, and that's why they've used that. But that could be just your general maintenance.
So, to show my age, Stan, how long does wood last in a bench?
It lasts less than metal. So when I first got here, we had a lot more wood benches, and we have phased them out. And it's because they warp, because they get damaged. It's really tough for a kid to throw a fit or to get upset or just to vandalize a metal bench. It's easier than you would imagine to vandalize a wood bench, especially when you have the long slats and there's weak points right in the middle. And so you won't see a lot of wood benches left in our park system. I don't know if you'll see any.
Well, I
maybe a
don't
couple.
sit on the metal benches.
And do you know what they're made of? That you
Wood?
typically
Oh, we do a lot with ceramic.
ceramic?
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe in the coating, instead of a black paint, which will hold the heat, there must be some heat types of coatings that will reflect the heat out, therefore keeping it cooler.
We have some park applications that are ceramic, and even as hot as they are, for the most part, people are, once they're sitting down, usually their pants or shorts at least cover that spot, and a lot of times obviously their back or their shirt will as well, unless they're wearing like a sleeveless shirt or whatever. And so it's really tough in Texas to make playgrounds not hot, make hard surfaces not hot, make benches and tables not hot. But yeah, there are some applications that, because you do have to weigh out what you're putting on it to how long it lasts.
Yep.
And if it's durable as far as the surface overall. And so there's a sweet point in our industry. And I don't know if this application could be used in that setting. I don't know if this designer has thought about it in that way, but Junior can give you some standard park bench suppliers that we work with if that application can be used in the setting. But
And we have seating in the plaza right now, and it consists of metal. Is that right?
And I
It's
never
got a
sit
coating.
on
The
it.
downtown requirements for the benches that were adopted, the historical benches that we've had. That's where this basic coloring and style came from, with the addition of the art in the back.
What about an engineered product like Trex or something? It looks like wood, but
That's what
isn't
I
wood,
was
and it
thinking.
lasts a lot longer.
I don't know if we have a lot of experience with that in as far as a bench that we've seen used with that material. I'm sure there's probably something out there.
I think I saw one at Home Depot.
There you go. Usually we look for a commercial application and not so much a residential application, which is what the Home Depot one would be. Same thing for our workout equipment, same thing for the wood flooring or whatever. We always try to seek a commercial application, but I'm sure there's something with that potential. I don't know if it has the art application that she
Right,
brought.
yeah.
But if they could just do the seat out of something that doesn't burn your pants off.
As
It's
much-
part
as
of the
much.
installation. How long can you sit on this thing? We'll put a thermometer on it. I don't know if you want to get to an actual item with this. I believe it was discussing consider.
Is there a cost?
There is. It's a little under 12,000. Consistent with a lot of what we have been finding for sculptures of this size.
It's not a bench in the sense that
Right.
it's an art piece as well, obviously. And that there's an art budget that Aaron's working out of. That's not coming out of like
Correct.
Parks General Fund account either, just for that insight. We're not losing 3 benches for this bench, this is.
Yes, this
Aaron's working out of
is
her own
on
budget.
top of what
Yeah.
you already have.
So I think, in terms of like walking through the paces, art installation in that spot instead of a bulletin board, yes. Then I think bench, is that the right art installation? Up for debate, and then also, not that it's a terrible concern, but ongoing costs of having something that's gonna be plugged in terms of the art installation.
Sure.
I don't know if that's a big deal or not, or if we wanna talk about solar or whatnot. So,
Are you wanting to come back?
So, in terms of power, we anticipate putting on a timer, so it's only lit during
Yeah.
certain times. Did you have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's a really good idea to have, if you're gonna invest in artwork, it's cool to have artwork that has a practical purpose. I kinda like that it is a bench, but I do agree that maybe I mean, I've sat on the park benches that are more ceramic and
We
they're more,
appreciate
but,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
I've sat on them.
Live to tell us about it.
I lived, my pants did not get burnt off. It was pretty warm though. But, so I think if it was a material that is a lot more around what we see in the parks, I think that would be manageable, where people would actually use it instead of kind of avoiding it completely. I think it is kind of cool to spend money on an art piece that also people will get a value of to sit down and enjoy it.
And take
What about a
And
sunshade
take
or
selfies
cell
and post
shade?
it on Instagram.
Yeah, we could, there would be shade applications if this group was interested in seeing that. Looking at the left photo from the top, depending on where we are at the time of the year, that may get a lot more shade. I mean, we have roses out there because we get shade at different times. You can see from the Hanover side that we're already getting shade on the right side from whenever that aerial was taken. So I think shade out there is probably, I think it probably happens 25-30% of the time regardless, but we could look at some sort of shade option to help as well.
can we combine the bench with moving that air conditioning condenser and some sort of mural on the brick
Yeah,
wall?
let's get rid of, I mean, that air conditioning doesn't hit my office, so it's
Yeah, I
fine.
was gonna say, they don't need air conditioning at City Hall.
Who's over there? IT, finance? They may have some issues.
They might have some concerns.
Let's wait till after budget season for finances. There's AC to cut off, but.
Has there been any discussions regarding if solar would be an option? Because I agree it would be kind of nice if it didn't have to be plugged in, so if it got moved, like, let's say this, we don't know what's gonna happen to this building in the future, and, if it could get moved somewhere that doesn't require an outlet, but you still invested in that, so it could have a future location if something happens in this area, I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I did run the solar one by the designer, and they're not able to achieve it with the amount of power that it would need for it.
Oh, for the surface.
Yes, because the bench.
Yeah,
But, I mean, in terms of color, I don't think it needs to be black. We can kind of look at that. I can also go back potentially and ask if there's different types of material that can be used for the seating. But they might ultimately be limited by what they can manufacture or put together, assemble.
I'd say look into a sunshade too, because I would think like one of the cell shades with, rectangular, or I guess the diagonal ones, or the triangular ones, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't think one that small would be prohibitively expensive.
We had initially looked at a shape in that location, but there are also the lights that are strung across the plaza.
Oh, that's right.
That would come into conflict with.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna ask if we could separately investigate shade, but there you go. That's been talked about, huh?
An umbrella.
Okay.
All right, what action is necessary?
We have
How would you like to?
motion to approve the fabrication of an art bench.
Oh, and allow her to make some modifications based on staff's.
I mean, right, we essentially have feedback. Do we want to come back and have a re-review of things?
I don't know
mean,
what your
that makes
timeline
sense.
is.
We don't necessarily have a timeline. I was thinking that my hope was that we would be able to have it constructed and installed before the Slice of Pflugerville. But if that's not something that this commission desires at this time, we can hold off. I mean, obviously, it's Instagrammable.
Slice of Louisville is our cultural
It has its
festival.
own event.
Slice of Louisville is our cultural festival.
When is that again?
It's 29th. I was gonna give you an update on director's report, but to her point, you would need to take action now
Yeah,
if she
I
was gonna
would,
do
I
that.
would, I would suggest, and I'm not gonna make a movement, that we approve with suggestions to investigate the things we
Okay.
talked about.
Yeah, you could make that type of motion and see if that got a second.
Okay, I'll move that. I move that we approve, but you note our suggestions for investigation. If nobody seconds, then there we go.
Yeah, I'll
All right.
second.
May I ask a question? If we say we're going to approve it with our suggestions, at what point do they then know they can go ahead with it? To me, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
Yeah.
they're suggestions. They may not end up taking any of them, so that's
But
why I
then
don't know how y'all feel
then I may
about
have
that.
voted for approving something that I don't approve of.
Right, which is why I'm not sure what I think about that either.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you said motion with an amendment for the suggestions that were presented and staff's discretion, staff does have the right to look and reach out and say, do y'all do ceramic coating? No. Can you do another paint material? Yeah, we can do white or baby blue or something else. Can you do aluminum instead of metal? Yes, you know. And then Aaron has the ability to do that and get the art piece and the installation in before slice. You could also make your motion more rigorous, but if she can't hit those, she'll be coming back in a month and we won't hit the installation time for slice. And I think they're, if possible, I think the goal is, because we're, and as we'll talk
End
about
of
what's
April, is that end of April?
yeah, end of April. So we would be back middle of April, third week of April, but wouldn't be enough time at that point. So, Slice is having art installations and food and performances, but we're having a couple different art installations, art vendors, art performances out there, and I think Aaron was trying to hope that this would be part of that.
Do we know what the traffic is there now? Is it mainly daytime traffic or nighttime traffic?
It's really more nighttime traffic. It's at Hanover's and Victory Tap, and it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of traffic. Obviously, city employees walk across there a lot, and people walk through it or past it. But huge Hanover traffic, especially with volleyball season. Anytime they're doing those adult volleyball, sand volleyball leagues, you see a lot of people parking, coming through, sitting, waiting for. They played an 8 o'clock game. They have a 10, so they're going to drink. They're going to grab a bite to eat and wait for the 10 o'clock game. It's mostly nights and weekends.
And that faces west, so you're gonna get naturally some shade from the building, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
do
and
think
the-
shade
and the
eventually happens.
back of the
over there.
bench. I
Yep.
mean, not much, but.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hide the little condenser back there.
There you go, be a better
No?
condenser hydrant.
Unless it's loud, are there any noise concerns with that?
Out of
I've been
the,
out there, I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
It's more about sight, I think.
are you asking about the bench or the air conditioning?
The air conditioning. I don't think the bench is gonna be
Bench is
noisy.
like buzzing.
I don't know. It's alive. It's lit up, isn't it?
Like one of those bar lights.
Right.
that-
All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any more discussion?
Are you fine with the motion that it would be at staff's discretion? Is that what we were
Yes,
getting out of
to-
it?
It's staff's discretion
Okay,
to
and
explore
that
our
would mean you would- yeah.
approve with staff discretion to explore our suggestions.
That means
but-
staff has the right to take into account anything, or if potentially the vendor can't
Right.
resolve it, or they can't.
Yeah.
And we could have Aaron come back and give us a report on what's going to be installed on the next meeting, or I could give a report on Aaron on what's gonna be installed before Slice, but you're giving her permission to use discretion and make the decision before the next meeting. With that motion, just wanna make sure we're clear on that.
Yep.
Is it gonna be better than a bulletin board?
Yes,
Got
yes,
it.
yes.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Oh, I think did we get a second?
Yeah, we got a
Yeah,
second
I
sorry.
seconded.
from Amy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion carries with one opposition.
4-1.
All right, 5C, discuss and consider action on Parks and Recreation 5-year capital improvement program.
I'm gonna sit next to Shane.
Wow, I just got my keyboard back.
Well, last meeting in February, we did come to you, and we presented the proposed prioritization per staff's recommendation for the 5-year capital improvement program. I did send that out in an email on Friday to you all, And I wanted to know before we got started if there was any discussion on priorities, or if you had any recommendations on the priorities that we presented at the last meeting. No?
I think I was good with them.
Awesome, okay. Then we are presenting, this time not the projects again, but the priorities. Last time when we met and we presented those items, there were some cost changes or estimate changes. So those in red you will see on the slides tonight. So if you remember the historic water tank, the last time I think there was only 200,000 allocated for feasibility, and it's 400 now is the cost that staff feels comfortable with for the feasibility. And
Okay.
we
So I have a question. So when you break this down by year, it has two phases of 200 and 300, so.
yes, so on the next slide, it actually we have put in funding to build out.
So what, I'm sorry, so with those two numbers, what change, what represents a change there?
The in 2024, on last month, we presented 200,000 for feasibility, and the 400,000 would include feasibility and design.
Okay.
So we combined it, and then in the next slide in 2025, you'll see a cost for build out.
Okay.
So we went
So
ahead.
essentially, the 200 for 2024 becomes 400.
Correct, yes, sir. And then there was an addition of the Emmanuel Road pedestrian bridge. This is a roadway project that we have incorporated into parks. When the road is expanded, the bridge that we all passed by to drive here this evening, there's a cost in here to relocate it to a temporary location so that it can be used on a trail or in a park in downtown East in the future.
Yeah, that's potentially where it's gonna go. Downtown East new
Potentially.
development, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so that was not a project that was on the main list last time, but it is here now in 2024 and then in 2025.
Relocating the bridge sounds kind of mind-bending.
So it
can
is
be
an
done.
Yeah, I can see that.
86-year-old,
Yeah.
I believe 86-year-old bridge that has been a part of
Right.
the Pfluger
I see, so there's this dire.
process for a long time, yeah. Just transportation, how people, yeah, so.
And it's pretty iconic when you
Yeah.
drive by it. It's really, really
And
neat
I've
bridge.
never moved a bridge, but I'm just amazed you could do it. It seems to me that that would be a higher number.
Well, in
there's a
2025. So that's just the first initial in 2024, and then it carries
Okay,
over to
well,
2025. Yes, ma'am.
I wish we could do it for that.
And then at the bottom, you'll see the public right-of-way. So remember, the trails are on every year. We commit to trail funding. So the right-of-way sidewalks, there's a little bit of additional funding in 2024. And then the annual trail connectivity was not on the presentation last month, but there is $285,000 committed to trail connectivity every year over the 5-year plan.
And that's just a reminder that we're continuing to grow, new developments are coming in, and we can, through this board, require this development, this 500 homes, to build a trail connection spot and a playground. And if this is where the other trail is, we as a city have to try to get a way that we can connect these two developments so that we're continuing to connect our.
So,
Trails.
I don't know when the right time to ask this question is.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine lives in one of the subdivisions off of Sealy Road, the one with a Italian sounding name that's not Sorrento.
Verona?
Verona, thank you. And asked what we had planned for that part of town. So I went through the slide presentation that you sent, and Pflugerville, the stuff at the lake is the closest thing that we have cited already. There's things that haven't
Sure.
been cited yet.
Yeah.
That's in that part of town.
So-
When is a good time to ask this question? Is this the right time?
It's probably not in CIP, so it's probably not this time, but you could ask it at the end, and then we give you a report on what we've received from Verona so far. So you can refer back, and they could even potentially attend if they wanted to, and anything we have planned in the future.
Okay.
And also in the master plan, when that comes out, there will be, they're looking at all areas of the city and where
Okay.
there's not parks or park projects,
Okay.
and they'll have recommendations.
Okay, so that's not necessarily a CIP question, it's a master plan question.
Yeah,
Got
more
it.
of a master
Okay,
plan.
thank you.
Yep.
That's why I'm there. Okay.
So then in 2025, you see the build out of the historic water tank. The destination play space is less than what you saw last time. And then we have the relocation of the roadway pedestrian bridge to actually move it. So that's the significant cost to move it for relocation.
What was the assumption with the destination play space? Because it was about a $1 million change. So what was the reasoning behind that?
Jeff, do you know? I know
Not
CIP
really.
made some
I don't
changes.
know off the top of my head, but I think some of it may have been as far as property acquisition. That's
That's what we
sometimes
assumed.
a big cost. I'm not sure if it's in a public space or they're looking to possibly acquire property.
There
I'd
is
have
some
to delve
money.
into that further, get a response to you, Shay.
Okay, there is some money on next year's CIP, or on the next year CIP, rounding out that destination play space, but, it might just be that, they assumed that there was some, land acquisition in what we had budgeted for. But we had some land acquisition as an aspect of the bond program as well, and so a lot of that funding is still there, so.
Okay. Because one of the comments on the play space would be kind of cool if it was maybe a all abilities playground. So I didn't know if
Yes.
it was like the playground itself was, the design was going to change, maybe it was like smaller or something. So I was just curious.
It's still staff's intention to do an accessible all abilities playground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And to have it, and have a destination space we're all very, proud of.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
I think it may just be what they either thought it would take for the process to happen, or how much the city can actually take on as far as a burden in any one particular year, too.
Okay. Cool.
So I don't know if the
So nothing in the
relocation-
design changes,
No,
more of just
not on our-
funding wise.
At least not on our
Oh,
intention,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if the relocation of manual may have, or something else may have taken what our bandwidth was for that and moved it, but yeah, we still intend to have a world-class destination play space with all abilities play.
Okay.
And it looks like Wells Point was pushed out from 24-25 to 25 to 26 to accommodate some of these changes. Is that right?
20 was pushed to 2024, 2025 for closeout of Wells Point.
Can you go back
so
to
that's-
24, Shane?
So
Oh,
Wells
it's there.
Point,
Okay,
yeah,
it's there. Never mind. Okay.
correct.
I thought it was-
So that's
okay.
closeout for 2025 of Wells Point. And then again, you see the annual trail connectivity. I did put the paved ADA in red, but it only changed by $1. But I, again, wanted to point out changes so that you knew it changed.
Where did that dollar come from?
There's no going.
And then, let's see, 2026, again, the destination play space, that number did change. And then we have closeout of the historic water tank. And I wanted to point out on the trailhead, we did change the name of that from Lake Pflugerville Trailhead to Silent Harbor. That is the road that it is on. And then again, the annual trail connectivity at the bottom. And then 2027, again, not much changed there. The change of the trailhead, the name, and then the funding for the road, or the trail connectivity at the bottom.
Hey, Sue's at Destination Dog Park and Pickle Park, Ball Park.
Yeah, I don't see the word dog up there anywhere.
Well, I mean, I had to make it where
I see a D and there's an O.
And then on 2028,
We
the
know where
master
it's
plan
going.
update, there was a
Thank you
change
for
to
that.
that cost to carry it over 2028 and 2029. 2029 isn't a part of this project because that's 6 years out, but they did move the funding to span 2 years. And then, of course, there's some small fluctuation on the numbers at the bottom for the trail connectivity, mostly due to cost escalation and trying to make sure that we're accounting for that as we, the years go on, because things are getting more and more expensive.
So I have a fairly unrelated question. By the time we get to doing the 1849 stuff, is it anticipated that that north-south through road is going to be built up to
Yeah.
that subdivision behind Weiss?
Yeah, we anticipate, Melbourne.
Melbourne,
yeah.
right.
Melbourne
Okay,
Road.
we anticipate it'll be done around,
Yeah.
but, okay, that makes a lot of sense, okay. Because it looked like it was on the,
That was on one of the bond, transportation bond. So as we're running our bond program and our CIP
Right.
program, there's a transportation bond
Right.
program that had Melbourne on it, so. I don't know when that date is, but I would anticipate it would be done by this time, we would assume. Or close to,
Under construction by this time.
there you go.
Do we shop
Opens up
any,
right away.
Jeff's doing all the transportation by himself, he's literally building it.
did we shop any, paid dedication of the trailhead or boardwalk or any of the other things? in terms of like donations and things like that.
Not-
No, like crowdsourcing it of some sort?
Or
Yeah,
grant
like
funding.
somebody wanting to name it after themselves or something like that.
Oh,
So-
no, we haven't yet.
As these are put onto the CIP plan, then we can look for creative funding sources.
Right.
Whether it's grants or sponsors or
This
things
is
of
the
that
first
nature.
stage, right? So then someone says they want to sponsor something, oh, these are our future projects, they're unfunded right now, you know.
So tonight, we're looking for your support of staff's recommendation on the priorities that we've provided. But even though it's a 5-year plan, every year we'll come back to you for updates to that plan. Specifically, when the master plan is completed, there will probably be significant amount of projects that are on that we'll incorporate into the 5-year plan. But tonight, we are looking for your support for our recommendation.
Okay.
I move that we support the plan as presented.
Okay, Carol makes a motion, do we have a second?
You can do discussion after your
Second.
yeah.
Okay, Michael, second, any discussion?
Just a quick question. The boardwalk funding that's over 2 years, is the idea that the boardwalk would be complete after 2028?
Yes, the funding that's proposed would build out the boardwalk project.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes. That would be the intention, yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you all.
All right, let's go back up to 3A, approval of minutes. Discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on February 16th, 2023. Any corrections, questions, updates, concerns?
Motion to
complaints?
approve the minutes.
All right, thank you.
Second.
And Chelsea seconds? All right. Were you seconding, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. And then 4A, discuss only, director's updates, including information about the project status report and upcoming special events.
It's what we've all been waiting for,
Exactly.
right? Director's report. So for the month, upcoming programs I wanted to highlight, we have our Rain Gutter Regatta, which is happening at the lake on Sunday, April 16th. It's $15 a family. We have Unplug and Explore coming up next week, and then one to Enchanted Rock in April. We've got starting our new fitness program called Yoga in the Park, and then the seniors are going to the George Bush Library at the end of this month. The George H.W. Bush Library.
Which park is that in? The yoga in the park? Or does it change every single time?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yoga in the park?
Yeah, which
Yeah, it's
park?
Fluger. I don't know if it's changing every time, but this first one's Fluger.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Park Madness. So, I don't know if
I
anyone.
voted.
Awesome.
Did you?
Yeah, I voted over it.
Yeah.
I keep looking at it, and I don't know that part.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's been on social media. We had an idea just kicking around with staff that it happened really quick once we kind of
Yeah.
we're like, oh, we think we have something here. And yeah,
Well, the buzz around town has been that was a great way to let you know which parks you had no idea.
right.
Yeah, that's right, that's true.
People are like, oh, I got more parks to go to.
Yep.
So we felt like we had essentially 32 or 33 parks that we could highlight. March Madness is a 64-team tournament that they run by adding playing games. It's like 68 now, but we didn't have that many parks necessarily, but we thought we could start it in round 2. We didn't want to do the ranking system externally or public facing, but we did actually rank like round 1, like Pflugerville versus Verona is one of our smallest parks versus one of our biggest parks. So we did try to give it some sort of ranking like they would in the NCAA tournament. And then we put them out live, and people voted on them every week. They've texted me the results.
You have any Cinderella parks?
Geneva's Park is a bit of a Cinderella, to be quite honest. I've been shocked every time that they're
One
winning.
of our council members gave it a plug last week.
Oh, did
so,
they?
yeah.
Well, it's got a new, and it was one of the oldest parks that still hadn't had a playground replacement. And if y'all remember, 2019, a slide
Yeah.
was damaged,
Okay,
and
yeah.
that vendor was out of business, so we couldn't replace the slide, so it had plywood up where a slide should be. And so that neighborhood has been super pumped about the improvements we've put in, and I think they're just completely running away with this. So it'll be interesting. But we've had over 20, between the 3 rounds, we've had over 30,000 people have either reached out and engaged in the process in some way, or it's been something that they've clicked on and viewed. And so it's been incredible so far with the feedback that we've had. So it's been a lot of fun too.
How did your pocket park do? I forgot the name of it.
The one I like, Royal Point. Where'd Royal Point? They didn't like it. That's my part.
Still a hidden gem then.
Yeah, it made it to the second round. Got beat by Will Burger. So that's my little favorite. If you'll go on one of our tours, and I'll tell you that's my favorite
Well,
part.
if I'd known this was so competitive, I would have promoted it
Would've-
in my neighborhood Facebook group.
I think we'll do it again next year. I think it's
I don't-
been something that's had a lot of.
I don't-
It's been great to see people rally around their neighborhood parks or the parks that they hold dear in some way, and we're gonna do something where we're gonna do ice cream, cake, some sort of event at whatever park that wins. So whoever helped vote for that can go out there that Saturday or whatever.
We may all be at Geneva's Park.
Yeah, yeah. It's the Cinderella story of our event. Eggpalooza? Not Eggapalooza.
Oh, yeah.
Eggpalooza is happening in a couple weeks. It's the Saturday of Easter. We are gonna have bounce houses, food trucks, egg hunt, face painters. It was well attended last year, and we're looking forward to seeing a bunch of folks out there again. We're gonna do the wildflower area again as well. We had a lot of families taking wildflower photos as well. We are asking that people register, so we just have an idea of how many eggs and activities and things to have, but we didn't turn any away last year, and we won't turn anybody away this year.
Where is that?
It's at Finnig.
Where?
Where at Finnig? We just, so if you can see in the background of this, we actually put fencing up, and we just line off areas within the ball fields, the practice fields, and then we do eggs.
Are you
in that
asking
ball
like
field.
where is that park?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So it's at Swenson and Finnig?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I thought you were saying where is Finnig
Oh,
Park?
okay. I was. I
It's
just.
a
I
big
always
park,
think
but
of
you'll see
Finnick
us
being
if
from
you pull up.
685
Right.
to
Yeah.
Railroad. I forget that it
Yeah.
goes on. Okay.
It
Right.
keeps on going.
I think of that as what Black Locust or something. But
Yeah,
that's
drive-
just my bad geography.
Drive
Okay.
past the field,
Okay.
right? And it's there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to staff. We'll put you in contact, Caitlin, and get y'all signed up. Earth Day Trail Cleanup. So it's April 22nd, 9 to noon. It's at Pfluger Park. It's our way of celebrating Earth Day. We do a trail cleanup, and we will provide equipment, snacks, and water. So we just need some folks to show up. And it's a really good time. You get to hang out with Timmy and Eddie all day. Those are good guys. And Allie. So that's a good crew. Slice of Pflugerville, as we talked about earlier. Slice of Pflugerville is our version of a cultural fest where we really celebrate and highlight the rich diversity that our community has. 78660 is one of the most diverse zip codes in the Austin metro area, and it's something that we wanted to highlight. So Slice of Pflugerville is April 29th from 11 to 6. It's in downtown. We're going to have a bunch of local performers. So the lady here is the Accidental Chalk Artist Lady. I wish I knew her actual name. She goes by on Instagram. She actually has become super famous for working with Magnolia. For anyone that likes the Waco retail group, she does all their chalk at Magnolia. So she's going to be out doing some artwork. And then the gentleman on the left is from the Color Cartel. He was the Pflugerville art teacher at one time, right, Aaron? No, that was a different guy. Gotcha. So we have the Color Cartel, then we have the Austin Powwow performance. We have the Selena Forever Tribute Band on the left. We have the Texas Dragon art dancers. And we have much more than that. So you can see to the left where the event is happening downtown. And on the right, you can kind of see that we've got what we have on our main stage. What we have is roaming performers that are going to be happening throughout the event. And then we have that Best Little Plaza in Texas area that has some performances from the Ukulele Club, from the library, and a mariachi band, and some poetry readings and spicy loops. So should be a really fun event. We're excited about it. And we think it's something that's going to grow. We think as we continue to offer it, more and more people are going to say, oh, I know a way to highlight my culture in there as well. And so we're really excited what this year looks like, but we're really excited what it's gonna look like in 5 to 10 years as well.
Well, kudos to all the people who have put this together. It's really looking great.
I appreciate that. That is Jonathan's team. Caitlin and her event staff have worked really hard, and Caitlin has recruited a lot of the staff, some of the program folks, some of the ops folks, and some of admin as well to help. But it's been something that
She's
we are all
fantastic.
hyper focused on. Yeah, she's great. So we're excited about it. We won our award. I think I had mentioned it previously, but we were nominated for an award regionally for the work we had done on the master plan, and then we were nominated for the state for that same master plan, the marketing promotion of the master plan, and we won the state award for marketing promotion excellence. That was really cool. Got to have the guys up. Katie was there as well. She works with our comms team.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
See me,
great.
I got super dressed up for it.
Hey,
I
right
did not
before
think
you-
I'd be in that photo. But we were wearing our Pflugerville stuff, and we're super pumped to scream and cheer for our team. As far as the park maintenance guys that were there, Cordell competed at the state level in the backhoe. He was elevated from the regional. Jose with the nail drive. Austin competed in both because he qualified for both and placed third in the state in the nail drive competition. So we were excited about that as well.
So is there anything past?
State, no, there's no national.
Oh, okay.
Boy, these guys would love that. Competing in the international, I'm going to Australia to go do that. They would be all in. The guys love that. So yeah, the guys get a chance to go up there and compete. And what's really great about it is they get to meet foremans and park op techs from Victoria and El Paso and all the different parts of the state, and really get to expand their network as well. We like to do comings and goings. Our Cummings, Jonathan, you can see over here, is our new recreation superintendent. He is over all the recreation side of the department. He and his wife have 2 pups and live in Georgetown. And he enjoys being outside, hunting, fishing, going to concerts. His wife's a special event gal herself. Loves working in Parks and Rec. We stole him from Harker Heights. I think their director's still a little mad at me. He didn't come to our last meeting, but I'll win him back over. But we're excited to have Jonathan on. And then Jasmine is our new admin tech. She is the oldest of 9, which is insane every time I read that. Has a kinesiology degree from UT and specializes in disability studies and is a certified personal trainer. So she's at our office every day at 8, but she's like worked a full day. Like she'll go personal train for 2 or 3 hours. Somehow shower, be at the office at 8, beats me in every day by an hour and a half. So she's great, hardworking gal. Promotions, Tony was recently promoted to crew leader. He's only been on the team for a little under a year, but has a lot of experience managing ranches in West Texas and doing a lot of operation stuff. He's been great. And then Larry, who is our business ops supervisor, has promoted into the Parks Project Manager position. Joined the team almost 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and just recently, for a first time, found out he was a grandfather. We're super excited about that. Born and raised in Colorado, and he is a fitness guy for sure. And then we'd gone 2 months without a goings, but we do have one. Austin's leaving us. Austin's the one that finished 3rd at state. He lived in Liberty Hill, and that's almost generous. He lives north of Liberty Hill, outside Liberty Hill. The only person that thinks he lives in Liberty Hill is Austin. And it was just a long way for him to drive. And he had worked in Marble Falls, came out for us for a promotion, and has a chance to go back there and be a crew lead. So it's a good opportunity for him. And we wish him well. But him leaving is what allowed us to promote Tony as well. So we're super excited about that opportunity. A couple things y'all had asked about last time, rec center beautification. I think we're all in agreement. It's needed, and y'all could walk outside and turn around and see that, we could be definitely adding some color.
Just as a note, I did see 2
Well,
blue bonnets.
that's the second.
Over here.
Yeah.
I hand planted those myself. I would say any real estate agent would say we need some curb appeal. What we're doing to address that is there's a lot of different ways to promote in our industry, which is very unique, I think, compared to some cities or some industries. You can be an aquatics person and move up, or a rec person move up, a park ops person or move up. You could be a landscape architect. We don't currently have a lot of landscape architects on our team, so we're going to work on having a landscape service that we'll have on retainer. And once we have that, I think we're able to have someone come up and maybe do a little bit of design We're also in the process of hiring a forester, and anyone that's in that realm, forester / arbiter, will have a lot of experience with that as well. Plantings will be able to help us. And then what we're hoping to do is, once we get an LA group that we can have sketch something out and a forester on that we feel like is comfortable moving forward with it. What we're hoping to do is have like a work day. We'll invite everybody out. If we want to do a Saturday, we'll have gloves and shovels and we'll dig some stuff up and put some color in here and rotate it every season and make it what the front area here deserves. So
Sounds good.
that's the plan. The other question was the drone show. Wanted to give you an update on the 4th of July drone show. So we've already signed a contract for 4th of July this year, so if anything changes, it would be next year. But it's a great opportunity to talk about a drone show concept. So one thing that's interesting in the drone show concept is it's driven by the number of drones in the air, not the length of the show. Right now, we pay for fireworks, and fireworks is usually a blank per minute, whatever it is. So industry standards. When I first got here 3.5, 4 years ago, it was about $1,000 a minute. Now it's about $1,500 a minute. Like everything else, it's gone up. But they don't do like a per minute or per length of show. They do a per drone, because the more drones you have, the more depth and detail that show can provide. And I'll try to show that here in a minute. But most of the shows are 10 to 12 minutes. A lot of it's due to battery capacity. Right now, the national average is about $500 per drone. Minimum shows are about $150 or 150 drones. And those drones can do simple text and shapes, and are normally the smaller, the less drones, the smaller the audience. So what you see, the two photos, is an example from a SkyLogic company that does drones that they sent us. These are 150 drones. So it's flat, it's not 3D, but it is viewable.
It's interesting because I sent you a link for the one from Galveston. I don't know which year, but that was only 100 drones, and they kept changing shapes and moving. And it was really, it was pretty darn amazing.
Yeah.
With the 100 drones. So.
Right. And
And
I
then
think,
I also have
if
looked
you're
at the
right up on
one
it.
that caught my eye from the Eagles. Not that I'm an Eagles fan or anything, but that one again was like less. It was 100 drones, and it was fantastic.
so we reached out to a couple vendors. I don't know, and I
So it may have changed in the
Yeah.
last year, is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying, but it's interesting how it changed so quickly.
Well, and I'll tell you, so the next slide here, they use this as a way to kind of give you some ideas. So the 200 drones, and they're quoting at, I think it's at $495 per drone for that number. You can do a boat, right? But you can't do the boat that you'd want to do on the right, because for something that big, it becomes less pixelated. You know, it's almost like when you're in 3rd grade art and they make you dot something, and about third of the way through that little dot project, you're like, I hate dots, and I never want to do it again. You know, it's one of those things, if you do a big boat, at some point you've got to have a bunch of dots to show the sails, to show the boat. So this is something that a group sent us just to kind of, they show folks, because they hear about it all the time. You hear about, there was a Super Bowl or there was a blank, someone's
Right.
doing it. So it's like, okay, cool, we're excited, you're excited, but here's kind of what you're looking at baseline. And I was just trying to think of like what people would relate to. So obviously anyone that saw the Olympics, that was 1,200 drones. Anyone that saw the Super Bowl, that was 500 drones. Also interesting about the Super Bowl, and I think it would apply here, we'd have to really consider it. They had FAA restrictions because where their
We're in two airports.
where their stadium is, as opposed to where LAX airport is. So they actually could have no planes coming in and out of a 34-mile stretch for like an hour or whatever, because I guess if you're a pilot and you see that, that's a scary thing.
So is ours gonna be at the field?
Right now, we're just talking, but
We're just talking.
our fireworks show that we've had for the last 3 years is at Tyson, Texas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Are we, oh, so that's right close, that's very close to,
Yeah,
oh,
it'd be
okay, okay, now,
most-
now I
almost-
understand why you're.
And I'm
talking
sorry, I
about
should have given more
Right, because of
context.
the-
Almost 80% of our airspace in Pflugerville is actually owned by Executive
Yeah,
Airport.
okay.
Because of their runway in and out and their right away or their overflow on both sides of that runway. And so, almost any drone that we would do, we would have to get some sort of approval from, the FFA or the Executive Airport over there, just to make sure that they didn't have folks coming in and out, that would,
So I think the
impact.
funniest thing I saw in the Galveston show was when they were using the drones to recreate the look of fireworks.
yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, it's very programmable,
Yeah,
right? So there was 250 used for the Biden-Harris victory speech. It also had fireworks though, so it was a fireworks plus drone show. There was 160 that they use for the Christmas show, and this is that 160. That's a screenshot I took from their video. So really dark at night, it really is rich. You can see it pretty well. If you wanted to have 12 snowflakes, you'd need more though, right? You're limited to the number that you can do. And like I said earlier, fireworks are about $1,500 a minute right now. Time Magazine did one. They did 950 drones to celebrate their 95 years. And I think if you're really close to that, you're probably impressed by it. But the further away you get from it, I think that's where, and that's with 950 drones. I think, if you'd only had 250 there, I think it would have been really tough to see anything. It'd almost been like a real faint outline. And so I think that will be our struggle. With our GIS software that we have, we had 31,700 people in our viewing area for the fireworks show. Had 72 zip codes represented. We had 9 states represented. They're obviously here for a family, or we're in between point A to point B and stopped. So we have a relatively large viewing area. I don't think right now it can be its own show. I think you could potentially see it be a part of the fireworks show. But I just don't think the technology is there for us to do one or the other. And it's not without a cost. So our fireworks show is about $38,000 for us. That also includes, it's $45,000 for all overtime, all staff, all equipment, police, everybody. This 160 person Grapevine show is right at 80,000. So almost double.
I can't believe it's so expensive per
Yeah.
drone.
But I think every year that it
It's
probably
gonna
goes down.
come
I think
down,
it gets
yeah.
cheaper as technology gets better. So I think it's something that potentially could be done, and I'd almost like to see us do it at a smaller event first. See how it does in a smaller draw, like a Deutsche Fest event at night or something where it's pretzels and beer mugs or
Well,
whatever. And
the
then
bench
The opening of
dedication.
the destination
The bench
playground.
the bench dedication. You see it from
Yeah.
I got a drone, I'll bring
I
it.
was gonna say the opening of the destination playground.
There you go. Absolutely. I think if we
pencil
can
that
see
in.
it in smaller applications and it gets better and better, I think we could potentially have another discussion where it's an alternative for fireworks. Because fireworks are very disruptive in some ways, right? They disrupt animals. They're people that have sensory concerns, vets and other folks
It's a
that
fire hazard.
it's a lot. And so I think cities and people in our industry are trying to figure out a way. But silent fireworks just haven't gotten to the pizzazz yet. We see them in our industry, but they don't shoot as high, they don't shoot as far, they're not as colorful. And so almost everyone at that event has to be pot committed to the idea that this is better for the blank than the overall good of me enjoying this really cool fireworks show. And that's really tough when you have 31,000 people attending, right? A lot of people maybe not even from the Pflugerville area, but they came in to see our show. So I think it's something that we'll still have to discuss, but I think technology is catching up. So.
Yeah, I'm sure that cost per drone is gonna come down.
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you, whatever overhead they're covering, at some point, they have enough events now that's covering that, and that high rate is only preventing them from getting more profit at some level, so. I would agree. So ends the director's report.
All right. We're at 5D.
Yes.
Discuss and consider action on subcommittee appointments.
That's right. So we brought subcommittee updates to you last time. Jennifer didn't I know Jennifer has been on both of these, so I don't know what you want to do with that. But we brought the updates to you last time. You usually revisit these once a year. We wanted to wait till we had our new board instead of the old board. You can appoint up to 3. You can appoint 2 and allow the folks that aren't here at this one to be considered later. You can push this till you had a better quorum if you'd like, or more people here. But at some point, we need to provide an opportunity for the folks that are on there maybe to rotate off if they have a desire to, and for the folks that didn't have that chance yet to maybe get the opportunity. So that's what this is for.
So my initial preference would be to move it to a later meeting where everybody can be here.
You have every right as the chair to table it.
Okay.
Doesn't take a vote.
Does anybody
or
have any
anything.
concerns about that? No? Okay. I'd like to table 5B then.
I'll second it, if it needs a second.
It won't, yeah,
Okay.
she has the right to table anything. She could end the meeting right now.
Oh, good. Yay. Exercise that.
That's right.
All right,
Yeah.
5E.
What are you waiting on?
Discuss and consider action to place items on future Parks and Recreation Commission meeting agendas.
So now potentially, not just tree care advisory, board if needed, for anyone. Tree care advisory was supposed to happen this time, but we didn't really have anything to discuss, and no one had brought anything to the last meeting for discuss, so we could take something specifically for discuss tree care if you'd like, or we could continue to move that to when we need it. You have the Bee City USA that we've even talked about calling it like a pollinator subcommittee, so you could talk about bees and butterflies, and now we could potentially have a revisit of the event subcommittee voting as well.
Okay. Any other topics?
Carol, her hand up.
I would like to just cross out the word if after tree care,
Okay, you want one next meeting.
definitely.
Do you have anything you want on that thing to be?
Right, somebody had asked me if the city, not necessarily tree advisory, but the city could have a program similar to Drop by Drop to help homeowners who may have to get rid of entire trees. That, you know, are not just their personal tree in the middle of 5 acres, but trees that are close to sidewalks.
And not that I want to have a discussion about it, because we can't, but just so I know more info about what you're asking. Are you asking that if Lisa had to replace an oak, does the city have a funding source to replace that oak for her? Is that
Not
what
to
you're?
replace it, but to help with the cost of removing
Okay.
it.
Oh, to remove it? It's dead, and you want, okay.
Well, if you're gonna talk about removing them, maybe we should also look into, because I know we had Drop by Drop for many years, and we took advantage of it, one year. And I know that was taken away, so maybe we could discuss that, bring that up, the feasibility of it. It's been a while.
A drop by drop but for trees.
Yeah.
Not, we're not revisiting drop by drop. We're
Yeah,
doing this for
to
trees.
replace a lot of the trees that the
Okay.
storms have taken.
We could change it to the 3 Rs if we could get it from remove, replace, and
Call it branch by branch.
And
I like
branch by
it.
branch. I like that.
And even, I would suggest promote awareness about appropriate trees to plant, even if we can't help people actually.
You got
replace
12 options.
Yeah, here are your 12.
Yeah, the city
Well,
does
'cause-
have certain ones that are recommended, but yeah.
As somebody who mistakenly planted a Bradford pear 15 years ago, I'm all for educating homeowners now about what to plant.
Yep, we can add
And
that.
had a branch fall in my car.
One thing along the same lines of recommendations of what to plant. I know when we moved here, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago, we had a guide that was, I believe, from the A&M board, not board, but
Ag extension.
it was, yeah, it was a color guide that, I can't remember where we got it, maybe at Green and Growing or something, but we used that almost religiously
Yeah,
with everything we
that's the kind of
planted,
thing.
and I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time.
Yeah, I'd love
Do
So-
you
to,
still have it? Like I could
I
even look at it?
don't.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'd love to promote that kind of.
Yeah,
that
if we
kind of
could look
education.
into that, and then it was, like I said, it was very helpful. I would literally take it every time we'd go shopping and nope, it's not on there, or, you know, whatever. It's very, very helpful.
We can add a couple different items to talk about at the next meeting, and we'll have a
Okay.
tree care advisory board.
Okay, perfect.
Update on the bench.
Update on the bench.
Update,
Yep.
okay. Anything else?
I wanna compliment the crews on how much work they've gotten done on cleaning up the
Oh,
trees in the parks.
Appreciate that.
I walk a 1 mile route with my dogs. It's almost all on city park property, and it's like, yeah, you know, first they came through and cleared out the really bad stuff, and my wife's like, when are they gonna get this? They'll get to it. And they've gotten to most of it, so.
Yeah, I didn't put I'm gonna move off this slide so it looks like I'm talking about it. This is now discuss only. I didn't put a discuss only item just because every time I talk to y'all, I'm saying we're still cleaning up, still cleaning up. But juniors guys have done a great job, and I might be able to give you an update next time.
Yeah, give us, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, anything else? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, do we have a second? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. It is 8:15.